What it is, Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, dude, as always, I'm bringing you real treats. People that know, Matt Ebert is in the house. What's happening, Matt?
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Folks, if you guys don't know this dude, he's like a mogul that nobody knows about because he's been busy working, not building social media brands, but he has built a household name brand. He is the freaking founder, CEO, and badass of Crash Champions. Now that is a body shop, collision repair.
Yeah, collision repair shops, yes.
Third largest in the country.
It is today, yes.
And about to be the first largest.
That's the goal.
And you grew up how? Like, how did you build this? And not only that, just for the record, you said in 2020 you had 12.
At the start of 2020, yes. Yep.
So at 2020, this dude had 12 collision repair shops wherever they were, and now there's over 650 and growing rapidly. So we're going to break that down, find out where you came from, how'd you get into it, how'd you build it, what would you share with other people looking to build what they're building, and we're going to pick your brain and hopefully drop some bombs.
Love it.
So let me just read this just for the record. Matt Ebert is the visionary driving force behind Crash Champions, a prominent player in the space. I hate reading those. But he's a badass, got a big ass company. He's the real deal. So I want to get into it. So number one, like approximately how old are you?
I'm 52.
Okay, you're 52 years old. Tell me where you were at 18 years old.
18 years old, I had moved into my grandparents, and I was fixing cars.
And where was this?
South suburbs of Chicago. I grew up in central Illinois, so a real small town, and wanted to get back to where the rest of my family was, closer to the city. So that's why at 18, I was living at my grandparents for a couple of years.
Was it a silver spoon situation? Were they rich?
No, we grew up lower middle class. So that's probably where the entrepreneurial spirit, I say, came in me. I wanted to go buy my own clothes, not the clothes my mom put me in that got me made fun of and beat up in school. So, young age, started mowing grass, paper route, whatever it could be. Collision industry came pure by accident. I wrecked my car when I was 16, needed to know how to fix it. And in a small town, I knew a gentleman that worked on cars at night after he did his body shop job during the day, and asked him to show me how to fix it, and then continued working with him from there on out.
And so at 18, you still don't have these shops.
No. Actually, I wanted own my own business real bad. So in my early 20s, I didn't think I could own my own body shop because I didn't know where the work would come from. Not that I didn't have confidence that I could run one, but I didn't know anybody. I came from a real small town and didn't know where I would get any referrals or any cars to fix. So I actually jumped into a Subway franchise for a minute. Cash advance $100,000 on credit cards, tried to run some Subways, and those weren't working out. So had somebody else manage them while I got a job with my who eventually became my partner. So I went to manage his shop, and then we opened one together.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
But let's get into the rest, because that's where the story is. So it's not like you had a bunch of dough. How'd you get, you cashed out to go do the Subway?
Yeah, that's didn't have anything to lose, right? Wanted to own my own business, and that's how I did that. When
why'd you want to own your own business so bad?
It was a desire to earn money, a desire to grow things. I very much enjoy the entrepreneur part of things, the business part of things, finding out what people want and finding a solution for it, bringing it to them. In my early 20s, I didn't know necessarily what that looked like, but that instinctually is what I wanted to do. The collision industry started because the Subway started to do a little better. I told my boss at the time, hey, this business is starting to earn a little money. I should probably go run it. And he kind of convinced me I'm not going to make much money at that. Why don't we do a body shop together, which was a great thing.
What's a body shop generate in revenue if they know what they're doing?
So our current average is just over 4 million a shop a year.
And you have 650 of them?
We do. And
that's nice.
The industry has 30-something thousand locations, so industry average is only 1.6 million a year. So
why is yours 4 times the average industry?
You know, where the industry headed a long time ago, because of wanting consistency and quality. And it's a very much insurance referred business because you don't have an accident very often. You don't know where to go. So insurance companies direct a lot of people, recommend a lot of people our way. So that trend started a while ago.
Because you're doing it right, or why you? Why not everybody else in the world?
They refer other shops too, but it's so much easier, single point of contact. They're going to get a consistent performance from us across 650 locations versus reaching out to 650 individual owners to do the exact same thing.
So the one-stop shop solved their problem nationwide.
That's right. And then, you know, the advancement that you see in the vehicles today, what I saw as just a small company is it was going to be real tough to keep up with investing in the equipment and the training and all the things that would be needed to keep up with the vehicles today. They've changed a lot in the last 5 years. So it's much easier for a bigger company to respond to that than a small one.
Yeah. Well, what happens when you were small, though? Like, you started out just a regular mom and pop, didn't you?
Yeah. So, you know, you spin what you're all about. So now we can take the position of being big and why we're better. At that time, I was taking the position of I'm small and here's why I'm better. You know, I'm the owner. You got my phone number. If something goes wrong, you can call me. From an employee perspective, I knew every one of them at that time, right? And so I played the angle at that time of why small was better and why you want to do business with me versus the big guy. Now that I can't own that anymore, I have to go, what's the advantages and why deal with us as a big company.
See, but is that instinctual? Because there's other mom and pops that have probably been doing it just as long and they're still one location in year 650. So like you had to have done something that most people aren't seeing. You had to figure something out that, like, these guys aren't figuring that shit out. You want to give out the sauce?
I think it's a drive that doesn't stop. So I think my friends would tell me that, you know, I must hate myself is something they might tell me because in their minds, I'm making my life unnecessarily hard, right? Because I just keep going, where most people want to stop and be comfortable. And I have a wife that's pretty patient with my work ethic. She'll raise her hand sometimes and say, hey, what about us? But for the most part, she's really supportive. Couldn't do it without her, you know, because she handles everything at home and the kids.
See, that's a bomb. Most entrepreneurs need to pay attention to that. Like having a partner that's on the same page and supportive makes a massive difference, wouldn't you think?
Oh, big time.
Was she just that way, or did you have to, like, you know, sell her the dream?
It's a constant work, right? Like, you know, it used to be you're here, but you're not even here. And I've learned to, like, now try to make the time more quality. Your mind never shuts off, right? So we still get to where she's upset with me because of work is taking too much of my time. So I haven't mastered it. I'm just aware of it. That's what I would say. And at least we can talk about it.
Well, you're open.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they're trying to build businesses a fraction of what you've done. And that's their dream. And their personal problems become business problems. You notice that?
Yes.
A lot of people think, well, I got business problems. Well, I always say you probably got personal problems at work. Like it boils down to personal problems. And the most of them that I've seen is the relationship is stressed. You know what I mean? So you're saying, yeah, dude, that's happened to you too.
Yeah, what affects you at home affects your work. What affects your work affects you at home. So I am not one to talk about balance because I don't know that balance gets you where you want to go. You almost have to if success is important, you almost have to be a little bit obsessed with it. From my experience, I don't know how to just be casual about it and do really well or try to do everything well because somebody next to you is obsessed with what they're doing, they're gonna beat you. I think when you ask like instinctual or what was it, that there's also a little bit of fear, like in a world where big fucks small. Like when I was small, I was worried like a big company could come in tomorrow and take it away, was a little bit of my opinion. So a little bit of survival, maybe instinct to it is what I would call part of the drive for me.
And you've been doing this now. So when did you start?
In the collision space?
Yeah, 16. But when did you start owning them? In like
99. And then 2014 is when I bought out my partner, rebranded as Crash Champions, and started to grow.
And did you start with one or did you start with multiple?
Started with one. 2014 is when I started to grow. Grew to 8 in 2018. Took on an investor 2019, and then that's when really took off rapid growth.
Did you have risk involved? Was there risk, or was it just smooth sailing?
Oh, it was all risk. It was I never took money out of the company. Everything was going back into the company. I would take a small paycheck, not be able to cash them. Like, it was all risk.
Did anybody ever say, dude, I thought you're killing it. I thought you're rich. How come you're not making any money?
Yeah. One thing that's been always the case for me, I've always been real transparent. So I was never the business owner that wouldn't share my numbers. How do people help me get where I want to go if they don't know the numbers? Where a lot of small business owners don't share stuff like that with their team. I always felt that they envisioned it to be way better than it really was. So I thought them knowing was way better for me than keeping it from them. So my team always knew where we were from like a profitability perspective.
You think that's instrumental? Because again, I know a lot of people that hide their numbers from their team. Sometimes I kind of do that. It's like, there's none of your damn business. Why do you think sharing that information is better than keeping it private?
This simple. How the heck can you hit a target you can't see? So if you're not sharing with them the target, how are they supposed to help you hit it? And then if you don't share with them the why or what that number means or anything else, how motivated can they be? What, just to make you more money? They need to understand why the profitability needs to be there. What is your debt service cost? What kind of money you need to reinvest? All of those things, the team will unify and go kick ass and accomplish it if they really understand it, know the why, and know what the target is. Have you
developed people from day one? Like, my buddy Jack came on board day one. He's now my, senior vice president of frickin' rubbing shoulders.
Yeah, I've got, we have one person with us, still been with me for 22 years. I walk into shops today where the best technician in the building was a detailer a long time ago. So it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah.
So you develop your team.
We do, from apprenticeships to teach technicians, to apprenticeships to teach service advisors, which are like our estimators, to really a whole lot of development goes into our management team, because so much is dependent on the leadership, and most of our team came up through the shop, so we know how to fix cars, make customers happy. Doesn't necessarily make us good managers or good leaders. So we spend a lot training all of that, because a good manager determines the happiness of the team in one of the shops. You can take the most beautiful building, all the business in the world, put a bad manager in there, and everybody in the building is going to hate their job and hate working for us. We very much are aware of how important the leadership is, how that affects the rest of the team. And in our industry, we're not a lot of college educated. We're blue collar workers that came up through the shop. So those are skills that we have to teach internally. We've built a lot of training around that, because it's just not where we came from.
See, dude, I mean, obviously, one of the reasons you're successful is because you're doing these things. You know what I mean? I said,
yes,
you're doing these things. You somehow, some way, you got them done. And I think, that's one of the reasons you've led to success, and success leaves clues. So like, did you have any coaching or mentoring, or did you just had to learn it all yourself?
Yeah, mentoring, in that there's always somebody you're learning from. I would seek it out through whether read a book, go online. I still do that to today because I feel I have to continue to grow and stay ahead of the skill level I need for where the company's at. Like, I'm not, if I want to be a $10 billion company, for example, I need to be ready to manage one. So I feel like that's a constant journey for me. The great thing about being the founder is I wasn't really worried about my job. So I didn't have that fear of bringing in somebody smarter than me. So that's the other thing that's really helped me a lot, is bringing in a team around me that's been where I haven't been yet. My chief operating officer, for example, came to me when I was about to be 39 shops, and he was running over a couple hundred at the time. And so now that I've been that big, I look back and think, I don't know, he took a big risk on coming to work for me when I was that small compared to where he was. But that's one thing as an owner, you're not afraid to do, where maybe if you're trying to climb a corporate ladder, you don't want somebody smarter than you there. But for me, my team I've learned a lot from, because they came from bigger and know things that I don't know.
Yeah, well, again, someone asked me the other day, number one, they're like, did you think you were going to be as successful as you are? And I always answer truthfully, and I said, no, I thought I'd be more successful than I am. Then he said, well, what do you think your biggest challenges have been? A team. Like, I failed to build a massive kick-ass team. Maybe, I don't think it was because I was worried about people being smarter than me. I couldn't find anybody smarter than me. So that would be like, well, then you're hanging around the wrong people. How important do you think it is to get in the right environments and hang around the right people?
Oh, it's super important. So I tell that story. My first partner one day, and he didn't mean this for business. He meant it for my personal life. He didn't like the guys I was running around drinking beer with, but he said, look, if you surround yourself with better people, your life will be better. Well, the same is true in business. You surround yourself with better people and your business gets better, your day gets easier, your team gets better. It's key.
So you probably won't want to hear, because this might go out to people that are on your team right now and competitors. But what are your weaknesses?
Mine,
or yeah, like what are your,
sure.
Where's your weaknesses?
So my weakness, for example, would be, I would say one of my biggest mistakes is hanging on too long sometimes. So I don't like to fire somebody. I like people. I want to help people. I want to see people advance. Now that the company's so big, if I leave a bad executive in place, like, I hurt a lot of other people, and I still have the tendency to wait too long and regret it, because I keep wanting the person to rise to the occasion. And
have they ever?
There you go. I know it. So that sentimentality in me is a weakness. But the great thing is now I do realize, what about all the other people I'm hurting by leaving that person in place? So that's a definitely personal weakness of mine that I constantly have to pay attention to, being too soft.
Yeah, we share that, because again, I always think, man, I care too much, man. The dude's cool. He's got a family. I know his kids. I don't want to let him go, but I fail to realize maybe I don't care enough. And someone goes, what does that mean? Well, I don't care about all those people. I only care about that one. So once I started realizing that, it made it easier to go, wait a minute. If I care so much, why don't I care about all those guys? Why am I just caring about that guy? And then when I put it in that perspective, it was like pretty easy. And not only that, on top of that, if you really care about the person and they're not winning with you, and you don't see a path to have them win, if you really care about them, dude, let them go so they can be a winner somewhere else.
That's right.
So, dude, I've had to learn that, but I hate it. If I ever have to fire someone, I tell someone else to do it.
Do you know?
Then they're walking out, and I'm like, what happened? Oh, they let me go. Ah, darn it. Dang, dude. See you around. But good. Yeah, we share that. So what do you think the strengths are? What do you guys do better than most?
I think the differentiator is the team, the people. It's a service business, right? So nothing happens without the people. And I want the differentiator to be the team. And so some principles that we operate under, we know we fix cars, we know that, but what we're really doing is helping people in a time of need. Nobody really wants to know a body shop, wants to come visit us, but if they need us, they really want to know us. And the reality is at some point in life, either you or someone you love is going to need us, and you're going to want to go and deal with somebody you can trust, because it's not a situation you're in all the time. And so we operate from the standpoint of we're helping people in a time of need, and the difference in that is trust. And so from interactions with our customers, with our partners, with each other, we drive that principle. The difference is trust. You have an opportunity to build on that trust with everything you do, and you have an opportunity to tear it down if you fail to deliver on what you promised, or if you didn't communicate it well. And I think super transparent about everything. I think that's something that I do, and that I encourage the team to always do. And I think that's different than the experience in most places. One mentor I have taught me this, and he used to carry a coin around. But what the principle is look, it's impossible to create a great customer experience if you don't first create a great employee experience. And so that's what we're constantly paying attention to, and we think then they can reflect that attitude toward our customers.
See, these are like fundamental strengths, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead. Hey, can I get a water brought in for Matt, somebody out there?
Apologize for that, getting cotton mouth.
No, that's all right. Like I said, dude, this is informal. This is just a shooting the shit and picking your brain, and people listening. I always forget that there's people listening. People will yell at me like, dude, let him talk. And it's like, well, dude, I had a question. Like, what do you want me to do? But I got to remember it's a podcast. So sometimes, and also, like, I've been letting you talk because, dude, you're not wanting to build fucking 650. You have them. You're going to go to 6,500 or 65,000. And I always tell people, like, dude, if you really want something, dude, all you got to do is find someone who's already done it, and then figure out what they did, and then do what they do. But you know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize to get anything you want in life, it's a simple formula. You figure out what you want. That's the hardest part. Then you freaking figure out who has done it, and then go model what they've done. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get what they've got, but you got to listen, and you got to like be willing to work. You ever find that people have big ambitions, but they don't ever do anything? They just talk about it.
They talk about it. Like when, we talk about, say, example where do you want to give away a secret? You could put it in print and give it to them. It's whether they're willing to do it. We struggle to get our own team to do it sometimes, right? So giving it to a stranger, they could have the secret, but you have to act on it. All of the knowledge in the world without action doesn't get you anywhere. And I think that that's a difference in, you can see what somebody's doing and wish you had the results, but are you willing to do the work?
So is there huge profit margins? Like, in other words, like if you're averaging $4 million a center and you have 650 centers, you're doing $250 million, $500 million a year. And I know companies that are like, well, we did 30 billion. And I'm like, what was the margin? And they're like, we made 90,000. It's like a lot of people get impressed by gross, but like if I'm thinking about, hey, I want to go build a body shop. Maybe I should try to go build one of these. Number one, how much do I need to know, and how much money do you think I need to start one?
Sure. So our margins are super small. Remember, most of the industry is insurance paid, so they're not going to let us make a lot of money. Real high single digits, low double digit EBITDA numbers is where the industry lives. And so,
and that's generally across the board.
That's right.
Because people always assume they're getting robbed. You want 12,000 to fix it. They're thinking it's 12,000 in the owner's pocket, when in reality, no, there's costs involved, fool.
A whole lot of costs. Yeah. And so, 10% isn't that much. We just fix a lot of cars. So yeah, almost $3 billion in revenue last year, from, fixing 60 something cars a month, but we only kept, like I said, high single digits from that. And of course the industry, as I mentioned, is so capital intensive. It's not like you have a website and a product you're putting out. You have buildings across the country. You have expensive equipment needed to fix the cars that has to go into all of these facilities. So it's a very it's a high capital intensive business, but it's insurance pay, and they pay pretty quickly, so it cash flows, and you can afford to service your debt and grow the company.
Now, you make me want to search for a Crash Champions. Where are they located?
Yeah, we have some here in Vegas. We're in 38 states across the country. Markets that we're biggest in California, Texas, Illinois, and Florida. Chicago was home for me, so there's the home base. But 38 states across the country and growing.
And they're all yours. They're not franchises.
That's right. I have a private equity partner, but they're all company owned. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not franchises though. Do you ever plan on franchising?
It's not. It's not in the plans today. There's some franchise models in the industry. I don't envision that being the direction we head.
See, what's funny is if I met you at a bar and I was sitting here talking to you, dude, and you told me you're founder of a company doing $3 billion, I'd be like, fuck, you don't seem like that. You don't.
I take that as a compliment, even though it's probably an insult, but I like it.
No, I mean, I'm not either, but I mean, I'm not doing $3 billion either, but when I do, and cause it's when, not if, I'll be the same dude. But like, I would just think you're like fricky, like you run one maybe, but like you're just down to earth. You're freaking this ain't an insult, but like a regular Joe. You're not some corporate stuffed shirt. So like, what do you think is about you? Because there's people listening to this going, dude, I'm inspired by this guy. This guy's freaking amazing, but he seems like he's just a regular Joe. He doesn't seem like a corporate stuff MBA graduate. Like you built something crazy, and it seems like it's almost intuitive to you. You don't have big college degrees. You didn't bring in a bunch of college degrees. It's just good hard work and frickin' treating people right and frickin', taking care of the customer. Which again, if you ask me, like, well, no shit, duh, like that's basic. Well, I know, but people don't do it.
Yeah, and and it's very much to the vision part of it. So it's key to, just like I told you, the team can't hit a target they can't see, like neither can you. So if I don't dream where I want to be, if I don't look at kind of trends and try to meet the industry where it's going, we'll be left behind. So it's really looking ahead of where do we want to be, or what's going to be in demand, a few years from now, and how do we get there? So that plan is always adapting, but you want your business to meet the current needs of the customer. And what I've learned, the bigger we are, I tend to talk real fast, and I see it clearly in my mind. I've been working a lot on all the details matter so much. Like, I'll give you an example. I could say, we're going to build this house. You just had something flash in your mind. I could be dreaming of something as big as a skyscraper. You could have thought of a, one bedroom, little 1-car garage, little shack. I told you we're going to build a house. You got a house in your mind. All those details matter. And so I think for even as the strategic kind of direction of the business, it's really, that's been a key to success, is envisioning where do we want to be in a couple years, and then doing the work to get there.
Reverse engineering. Yeah. See, dude, you're laying out some of the problems and shortcomings that I have. Like, again, communication with the team, being that transparent, explaining the vision, because I have the vision. But for some reason, I bet you if you walked around some of my companies, because this is one of them, but I have a bunch of, compared to yours, little companies, but there's a bunch of them. And it's like, I bet you if you went around to all the companies and said, hey, where are you guys going? They're going to go, well, we're going to be big, but there's no details.
That's right.
So how do you express those details throughout the organization?
Well, technology is helping, so that's where some of this kind of podcast appearance stuff started to come from, because they don't get to hear it directly from me anymore. It filters through all the layers of management, right? Or a memo that nobody wants to read. And so short videos from me, for example, is a tool that we use. I just have to make sure that I'm articulating it so that when they watch it, they get it. And repetition, you have to say it, unfortunately, 10 times, and you can't even be mad about it, because we all learn that way. Like we all have things where like we think we got it and then we learn it a little bit more or experience it. And then we're like, oh man, I thought I had it. I didn't have it at all. Now I have it. So you just have to keep repeating yourself and keep messaging it. And you get it right when the team starts saying the same message. I'm still working on getting it right, by the way, Brad. We talked about that earlier. You got some tools that I think are going to help us. But
well, you just named one of the secrets that we use. It's repetition. People say, well, how does that work so well? It's focused on repetition. It's focused on tracking, analytics, practice, role play, accountability. It's like there's a method behind it. But I discovered that all by accident because I was out training salespeople. And I was killer at it. Like I could make anybody from a landscaping job become a badass in sales. And they're like, dude, man, you can produce winners, boy. Just keep producing them for us. And I was working for someone else. And then I thought, man, I'm going to do this for a living. I'm going to go help people make more money through sales. So I quit my job and I went out and started training people. And I kept saying what I've been saying, but it wasn't working. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? Like, what's changed? So then I did a little research and I realized, well, when I was working for someone doing this, there was repetition, there was practice, there was accountability. Now I'm just giving out the content, but there's no repetition, there's no practice because I'm going on to the next customer.
That's right.
So I'm like, dude, I got to figure out a way to deliver the content, which was good. That's mine because that's key number one, good content. Got to have the right way to do it in the first place. Or you got to have a leader that says, here's where we're going. There's the vision. Okay, that's the content. Now, where's the repetition? I wasn't given it. Where's the practice? I wasn't given it. Where's the accountability? I couldn't give it. So I invented Lightspeed to deliver, track, measure, and provide those things. And it started working. And then I was selling it and using it, and people were like, man, this is awesome. And then people would say, well, we don't really know who you are, but we like this other trainer. And I stopped and I said, wait a minute. So you're telling me if I had this other trainer on this technology, you'd buy it? And they said, yeah, if you had him, we'll do it. And I said, well, hold on a moment. Then I went and knocked on his door and said, hey,
can you jump on?
You do online training? He's like, what? Nobody trains online. And I said, trust me, they will. Let me license you this technology and I'll even show you where your customer is. See, I pivoted. People always act like it was a big master plan.
Was that an easy sell, by the way, or take a few knocks on the door?
Some of them were harder than others, but it's getting easier.
Yeah.
But when I first started, dude, no, it was not an easy sell. Nobody. The internet, like, what are you talking about? Like, companies didn't even have websites.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, the internet, like they can log on and you'll pop up and you'll start training them and you'll start saying the shit you say anyway, but you don't actually have to say it anymore because we'll like virtualize you. And people were like, no, get out of here, dude. Nobody's going to do this. And for years, bro, I just kept knocking on doors and most people would have given up. But in my mind, I can't believe you can't see this. Well, the only problem now looking back is I was just ahead of my time. But thank God, I kept going long enough for time to catch up and boom, here we are. So a lot of the things that I've failed to do, you're adding like, damn it, I should have been doing that. Damn, I need to do that. And there's listeners going, damn, I need to do that. So in my mind, because I'm asking you questions for me, like if I'm listening to this, I'm asking like, well, how did he do this? And how did he do that? And, number one, if you guys have more questions after the podcast, go follow the dude at Matt. Is it Matt or Matthew?
Matt.
At Matt Ebert, EBERTCC.
Yes.
That's exactly. For obviously Crash Champions.
Yeah.
Matt Ebert CC. DM him. Like blow his phone up and let him know that you heard him and where he came from. So blow his phone up, follow him, ask him questions. I'm sure you'll answer them.
Yeah, appreciate that.
You also have a podcast you started called frickin' Pod Crash.
Yeah, we're gonna launch it soon. We're working on it.
What's it about? Is it for the industry or is it for anybody?
A little bit of, we want to take and kind of remember I said that leadership thing is something we think is important and teach. So bringing in anybody and what kind of lessons can we learn? You can learn leadership skills from all over the place. Bring in an athlete and talk to him about, teamwork. Bring in a successful person and talk about leadership. Bring in, we got a lot of my COO and CHRO both have military backgrounds. They can learn a lot of things from military guys.
100%. Work ethic's one of them.
Yeah.
Organization and structure's another one.
Yep.
So if I'm a listener, it's basically entrepreneur and business and life.
Yeah, that's where we're starting.
Where do
you never know where it goes, right?
Where do you want it to go?
Sky's the limit is how I think about things nowadays, because I would have never dreamed of it getting, you said I would have thought it would have been bigger. I wasn't as directional always. I am now. I used to cap things. How cool would it be if we got to here? And now I'm like, sky's the limit. Why would you stop thinking about how do you make it better? How do you do more? There's a lot of excitement in the growth of it. So with this, who knows where it takes us? I'm curious for the journey. It's new to me. I still fumble around. I'm going to listen to this interview and hate how I sounded in it because I'm that new to it. But that's the exciting part too, getting in something that you're not used to, an uncomfortable situation, and growing from it.
Well, what I say is you suck until you don't. Because again, I mean, I still suck, I'm sure, for a lot of fans that or people that listen. They're like, shut up, you're interrupting, you suck as a host. And I'm like, hey, I'll get better. But I always ask them, well, let me see how you do it. Where's your show? And they go, oh, I don't have a show. And I go, oh, okay. Well, then let me know when you do. But I try to back up from worrying about what everybody thinks. So the only thing I could tell you, because I'm ahead of you in the podcast game, maybe not in the business game. So
I was going to ask you for a tip or two.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, that book I gave you, it has equipment and what I did to do this too. But I mean, ultimately, you're going to get people hating on you with that podcast that you're not used to. Because, dude, you're a businessman. You built a big ass business. You're not used to hate and freaking dipshits on the internet. And dude, it does stop somebody. And some people are like, I don't want to do this. Why? Well, because someone called me an asshole, and not that you couldn't handle it, but like a lot of people worry about what all these people, and they don't realize, dude, that is a fucking 13-year-old dipshit in his mom's basement. You think it's a human being talking to you like there's some other businessman, and now you're being judged. Like, dude, this is a 13-year-old kid that is behind 44.9 Johnny Pants calling you a dickhead and calling you a liar, and now you're arguing and you're like, bullshit, and you're like, if you knew who that was talking shit, you wouldn't even care. But people don't think that because there's a shield, internet. So what I do is I say, listen, I'm going to try to bring on guests that have done it. And by the way, I've brought on guests that are, what people would call losers. Like, dude, why you bring him on? He's broke. He's flat broke. Well, we're going to figure out what not to do.
There you go.
And then I bring on people that are massively successful, and I go, what'd you do? And there's people listening to this right now that'll reach out to you and say, heard John dropping bombs, brother. You inspired me to get off my ass. I've had people call me and say, dude, I was like depressed for a year, and someone sent me your podcast, and I've listened to like 18 of them, and you got me up off the couch. I just started a business. I repaired my relationship, and I'm thinking, why? How? Well, just because, dude, the guest you've had and the one guy, then I'm like, damn, dude, this is making a difference. So I don't do it for any other reason than A, number one, I need a source of content. B, I get to help people. I know there's people being helped, even if it's not the one that's talking shit. And quite frankly, dude, I get to talk to smart people. Like, dude, people would pay you big money to ask the questions I'm asking and take notes and run back to their company and implement them. And I'm like, dude, I can grab billion-dollar CEOs, sit them down. They'll answer whatever I want to know. Shit, dude, anybody that doesn't have a podcast is stupid. And what's funny is I tell people, get a podcast. They're like, everybody's got one. You don't, number one. Number two, everybody doesn't have one, first of all. But second of all, when they told me everyone's got one, everyone had one. And I said, well, that's why I want one, number one. And then it started getting popular, and then it started growing, and then it started growing, and then it started growing. And now everybody's like, dude,
you got a good one.
Yeah. Like, dude, how'd you do that? It's like, dude, I just put it out there. You got to put it out there. Most people are not going to do a podcast. Well, what do I say? Dude, if I didn't have a guest, I'd sit here and tell you what I think and what I believe. It might not be the same podcast, but they call that a format. But the one you're talking about, dude, you're going to get subscribers. You're going to get a lot of people in your industry. You're going to find that like maybe other body shop managers are listening and they listen to this and they're like, fuck my company, dude. I want to work for their company. And you got rock stars reaching out after this. And you got, 18-year-old kids graduating high school that heard it. And they're like, dude, maybe I should frickin' work for him. Sounds like he cares about us and he'll train us. And dude, I'll start with that. So you never know the impact it has. And pretty soon you'll get more comfortable and more comfortable. And I'll bet you anything, dude, your shit goes popular because you're not full of shit. Like, in other words, you're not trying to do a podcast so you can sell a course. Like, you already built the company and now you're, hey, let's get some freaking knowledge out in the world. I'm thinking that eventually you're going to want to, and if you do, I can help you, figure out how to monetize your knowledge. Because that leadership podcast, you're going to have great episodes. People are going to be listening. Then they're going to want more. You won't have more because it's just a podcast.
Right.
I want to try to convince you to like, okay, now when they call in with the podcast, we'll have something for them. And then there's companies that are like, dude, I got 3 body shops. How'd you get 650? I raise money. Well, how do you raise money? Because again, do you think raising money's pivotal? Because again, that's another thing I screwed up. Back when everybody was getting $1 billion for their companies that weren't making any money, I didn't know to go raise money. I didn't realize raising money, private equity, bring in a partner, raise money. I didn't know about it. I've never raised money. And I could have raised a shit ton of money back in the day. Now, if I raise money, they'll be like, no, it's wrong timing. But what made you know to raise money? Was someone telling you, hey, raise money, or did you just know?
Well, I didn't have any, so I wanted to. I had 3 deals lined up, and I could borrow money for the real estate because there's an asset to lien. But traditional banking isn't going to loan on just a business very easily. That's what the SBA is for, and I had maxed that all out. So I went looking for more debt. And the investment banker that was going to help me find it also encouraged me to talk to private equity. And I did, and made the decision that was the best for me. So I knew to raise money because I didn't have any. Now, since raising money, now I know how to speak to it and how to actually do it. I actually, they saw something in me that I got a lot better. I can do it a lot better than the first time now. I learned how to make the business, I can make the business more valuable now that I know how it works. So my question would be, if there's people listening with a mom and pop body shop, which I guarantee you there is, what can they do, or what opportunity can you extend, and maybe they'll reach out? Like I know you'll buy one if it's you're willing to sell it, you'll buy it maybe. Yeah, for sure. And we have a link on our website. We have incoming calls every day about that. And it's important to us because we want to be the person they want to leave their, legacy to, leave the business they've built and sell it to. Well, dude, any of those links that are coming in every day, if I were you, when this thing drops, I'll get you the footage. I'd say, watch this. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, if someone listens to this and they're not freaking sold on the culture and the freaking purpose and the company, this will sell them. Yeah, and then the advice I would give is, concentrate on making it a quality business. You want to document your earnings. You want the trail of it. The stuff that you do that you didn't document, it's hard for me to pay you for. So say that again. Say that again. I tell businesses that all the time. Like, they don't get that. Say that again. Yeah, you're creating value by being able to show that your business is a quality business. Yeah, and you document the systems, the processes, the tech stack. You document it, centralize it. You don't leave it in everybody's heads, because right now there's companies out there that are 10 times more valuable if they got it out of their heads, because everybody knows what to do. I don't need that.
Everyone knows what to do, dude. But if you go to exit and nobody knows what to do except you guys, that business isn't very valuable. People want to come in and be able to replace you at some point and take over. Well, if you have everything documented, you have systems and processes and procedures, and everybody's clear. And if everybody quit the day they bought it, they could plug people right in, and your exact formula is duplicatable. And that's what that does. And it elevates the valuation.
Yes.
So I know, because we were talking earlier, that you are interested in buying some. So if anybody's listening, and not that you'll buy any of them, but they can just click that link.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about people that are listening? Because I always think in their minds, like, what would I be thinking? Well, dude, if I'm young and I'm interested, I'd be thinking, are you hiring? Are you hiring?
Every day, all day. And that's the great thing about growth, is you create a career path for people. That's pretty awesome. One of the benefits that I didn't see coming as you grew the company is just how life-changing a company can be for the people that work in it, and they see their career path completely change, an opportunity they never might have thought about originally. It's been pretty cool to watch. So.
What if you have an employee that comes in and they're like a young you, and they're like, hey, dude, I love the company, I love the culture, and you taught me awesome, but now I want to go start my own. Don't you worry about people starting your competitor?
No, I'd encourage them. Look, people are people, and they'll make choices. The more people that you train, some will stay loyal forever, and some will want to see a better opportunity and want to move on. Of course, we don't want to lose anybody ever, but the reality is you will, so you can't stop. You just have to keep doing what's best for what's overall best for the whole, and it's okay.
Have you ever heard the saying, training's expensive, though?
Yeah, the other side of that saying, right? Well, how about if they, what if you train them and they leave? Well, what if you don't train them and they stay? That's the truth of it.
That is the truth of it. And what's funny is, like, because we were talking earlier, you guys are killing the training game. You guys train, you put a lot of time and energy into developing your people. A lot of companies miss that.
Well, we have to, because there's a shortage in the industry of technicians. We've had that quote unquote stigma or stereotype where a lot of young people haven't wanted to enter the trade for a long time.
Why?
I don't think that it's well known that they can earn a pretty good living at it, and it might be that quote unquote dirty job when I can learn a technology job. Well, now cars are such driving computers, the audience is broadening, and we're getting some interest from young people. So
you want interest? We
do. We apprentice people from scratch, both from office roles to technicians in the back of the shop. And the other thing too is it's been a very it's body shop work. So we would love to attract even more women to the industry, because they're pretty good, the ones that we have. It's just they don't necessarily want to be in this business. But
what about in the sales capacity?
Yeah, they've excelled in any of the spots they want to be, from being a technician to sales to management.
If I'm listening to this right now, I'm saying, well, what pays the most? What position pays the most?
Just like any company, the more responsibility you take on, the more you make. But technicians do pretty well, because that's a skill. It takes years to learn it. The vehicles are very complicated. It's hard.
What about sales? Do they make commission or no?
They do, yeah. Most
see.
of our technicians are purely commission based. Most other positions are a portion based and say 80% fixed and 20% variable.
But if you had a family member's kid or something come along and say, Matt, I want to make some money. Where should I apply? What would you say? Learn to be a tech, or would you say learn to be sales? Or what I thought you just said is techs are sales.
Techs are not sales, but they're commission based. So the better they get, the faster they can go, so to speak, and the more they can.
So what would you tell me if I was a relative and I want to join Crash Champions, but I want you to tell me what path to take? Where should I start?
Yeah, what do you like? So if you don't like working on the cars, you're not going to want to be a tech. But if you like administrative work, we have all kinds of administrative roles. If you like sales and customer interaction, like I said, we're helping people in a time of need. So a service advisor position is writing the estimate on the car, interacting with the customer, interacting with the insurance carrier.
Do I make money doing that?
You do.
Is that commission based?
Partially, yes.
So I can make there's no limit to what I can make.
Yeah, I guess to throw a number out there, a technician, for example, our average technicians make $100,000 or more a year, which I isn't millions, right? But it's a good living for when you consider, average pay in the U.S. and people that go get 4-year degrees and make far less than that.
Yeah. What about marketing? Because I was curious, like, man, you guys must have a killer marketing team. And you're like, no, dude, it's a lot of referrals from insurance. So it's almost like now
relationship building.
Yeah, not only that, but now I'm thinking, well, damn, dude, like, how do I get in? Like, you don't even want investors. You're not looking for investors. You're looking for, hey, if you want a job, we'll hire you. If you want to sell yours, we'll buy yours. Do they become partners? Like, let's say I'm a guy and now I'm your partner.
Management positions in the company all get equity in the company.
Oh, there's the fucking bomb right there. What if I sell you mine because I can't seem to figure out how to, get big like you? I would imagine it's better to sell to you and benefit that way.
Yeah,
because if I'm doing 1 million netting 100,000 and I sell it to you and you get it to 4 million netting 400,000, and I'm a piece of that because like I'm obviously going to keep managing it, wouldn't I?
If you wanted to, most don't.
They just want to get out.
Yeah,
they're tired of it.
Yeah,
yeah, but dude, they're tired of it because they didn't make it big.
Yeah, honestly, too, though. They have other things that they want to do. They finally get paid, from selling their business, and then they get pretty busy. And they haven't necessarily thought about it. Some of the kind of like M&A work that we do is just getting the sellers in a comfortable place about like what post-sale life is like. Because, while they own the business, everybody's calling them every day, all day. Not maybe because they love them, but because they need them or want them for something. And then, all that's going to stop like immediately once you sell the business. And then a little bit of what's next for me is part of the psychological side of it for a seller. And they're proud of the business that they built, and they should be. And so what a lot of times is happening in the conversation about would they be interested in selling? Do they want to sell to us? What would we pay them? Is a little bit about what would they go do next. And so they've, throughout that sales process, already talked about what they would want to do. And most of the time it's not stay and work for us. They're entrepreneurs at heart too. So they basically are creating in their mind what they want to go do next.
Yeah, they end up selling to you, take the dough and just go roll it into something else that excites them now.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
So where's your vision? Are you looking to sell it? What is your idea? Where's your vision? Like, you don't seem like one that you would just sell it and have nothing to do.
Yeah, so the bigger it gets, like, I don't own, nowhere near. I used to own all of it, right? I own a smaller percentage of a much bigger company now. But, the way private equity investments work is they have a kind of a window of time that they want to invest in the company and grow it, and then they'll want to exit their position. So whether you'd call that a sale or a recapitalization event, I through that process have kept my money in and kept going with the company. And I probably would, not probably, I will next time, take a little bit out and leave most in and keep growing.
So you have no plan on getting out?
Well, my wife would love to see me home more, but if I was home more, I think after a little while she would want me to go away. And my mind doesn't stop going. I love what we're doing. I love the company. I'm not in the mindset where I want to move on yet. No.
Don't you want to travel?
3 or 4 days and I'm ready to go back to work. Something's wrong with me, maybe, from the way most people think. But
yeah, because I start thinking about, like, mortality and like, dude, shit, I'm 56 and you know, how long am I going to be around? 20 more years if I'm lucky, 40 if I'm real lucky. Dude, that went by like this. Like I start thinking, damn, dude, maybe I should sell some of these and just go live and enjoy and quit showing up and doing content and doing podcasts and just go check out the pyramids and stay at 5-star hotels. But every time I think about maybe I will do that, dude, I always think about, but then what? Because eventually, like, no, and not unless it's a lot. Like, again, if it's a lot and I know that I'll never need another dime the rest of my life, maybe, but then what? Then what am I going to do? And I hear once you have nothing to do, dude, that's when you start aging and dying.
Yeah, I'm of that mindset. What fulfill, like maybe you see some cool stuff if you're traveling, but where's the fulfillment? Like, and I enjoy work. I enjoy what we do. Like, I look forward to Monday morning. I don't regret it. I don't know what to say to that. Like, I'm having a good time.
Well, dude, I think that's also important. I think that's also a factor why you're growing and you're succeeding and your team's happy because you're happy. You're plugged in. Speed of the boss, speed of the troops is what I've learned. Yeah. Dude, your whoever your PE firm was, they're lucky to get you. They spotted a gem. Your team's lucky to have you because that's a good leader. You're a good dude. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you freaking sponsoring the show and freaking laying out the rules. And like, dude, a lot of people are going to go, dude, that was a killer podcast. Because what people want, dude, is like the truth. And it sounds like you're just a real dude saying it like it is. You ain't trying to boast and
yeah, I could have articulated better sometimes, but it's easy to just talk about how you really feel and what's really going on.
Well, I think there's going to be people that listen to the show and they're probably going to reach out and be like, hey, can you come speak at this event? Like, do you want to speak or do you want to like,
if it's helpful, yeah. Like I truly do enjoy helping people. I want to see people advance and succeed. So yeah, the schedule's always pretty tight, so that'd be an issue to work out. But glad to help.
I know a lot of people that do events, and what they're looking for is people like you. But what they end up with is people that pretend to be like you, meaning they got some dude that's got 50,000 followers and a slick mouth, but they ain't really done anything. Like, people want real people, and I think over the next 3 to 5 years, the fakies are going to get exposed with their fake followers and their bullshit. And I think the real ones that didn't even want to be found will be found, because with the internet, you're going towards transparency. Last question. What do you think AI is going to do to your industry?
Yeah, I hope it helps us. I can't wait for some of the things that AI should be able to deliver pretty quickly. For example, there's so many different vehicles and they're so complicated. It's a research paper every time on making sure you do the right repair procedures and document it so that you can get paid for it and do it right. So AI being able to spit some of that information out quicker. Administratively, there's a ton of difficulty in our business that AI is going to help. From a actual hands on the cars fixing it, I think it's a long ways away. Every accident's different and you need that skilled person. And from a human interaction, we're a service business and it's a people business, so we need people to service our customers. We need people to touch the cars. I view AI as something that's going to make us so much more efficient and get rid of some of that kind of work that you hate doing, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because when people ask me, are you afraid of AI taking your job? It's like, not if you embrace AI, and even if it will take your job, you better learn how to use it. But it sounds like AI is not going to be replacing toilets, putting on roofs, replacing HVAC systems, or repairing cars. So if you guys are looking for a freaking AI-proof industry to get into, reach out and apply with freaking Crash Champions. Where do they apply?
Yeah, same website, crashchampions.com. Take you everywhere you need to go.
Yeah, and then also, guys, listen, some of you guys listen are going to get in a wreck while you're listening. If you just got in a wreck, dude, get out your phone and type in Crash Champions and find your nearest location and go there, because obviously they care. And if they don't for some reason, if you go to a Crash Champion, I'm going to volunteer, and I'll bet you'll say, yeah, I like that. If you go to a Crash Champion and they treat you like shit, they rip you off, they do anything stupid that goes against what he just talked about and seems like he stands for, dude, DM his ass. Because, dude, I'm going to create you an army of freaking mystery shoppers. Because obviously, dude, you wouldn't be growing and thriving like you are if it wasn't real. But, dude, I like mystery shoppers. Why? Because me and you might think that's happening, when in reality, in the meetings, they're all saying it's happening. and we're growing. But, dude, you could be growing anyway. But mystery shoppers to me are like, dude, the truth is the customer. The customer will tell you if that culture is as good as you think it is. So, folks, if you're getting ready, or if you get a crash and you want to kick-ass repair with kick-ass people that care about you and they're customer service oriented, go to Crash Champions. If you want a job, a career, go to Crash Champions. Or maybe you just want to exit a little mom and pop couple of stores, one store. Will you do one store, or do you want like 10 stores?
Any number we'll look at.
Collision and repair specifically. Mm-hmm. So, guys, if you guys got a collision repair shop, you've been thinking about, man, how do I sell this thing? Dude, reach out. Anything you want the Bomb Squad to help you with other than use Crash Champions?
Yeah, obviously, if you have a need for us there, know that. And then, follow me and help us kind of get the message out and expand the brand. That's what we're starting to work on. Matt Ebert, CC. If you guys want some business advice, he just volunteered. DM him, ask him some questions. And it doesn't matter if you have a freaking landscaping franchise or a freaking donut shop, because, dude, business is business, and this man knows what that is. Dude, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, as always, till next time, keep it real.